Good afternoon, my name is Bill Quirk. I'm with the Defensive Training Group and I'm out here today at Big Daddy Unlimited. We're going to talk about shotguns. So this is my primary training shotgun. It's very similar to the one that I used to use at work. My team, I'm retired law enforcement now, and the last half of my career I spent with the Marshal Service doing violent fugitive apprehension. And in today's law enforcement world, we were one of the few teams that actively still use shotguns. My partner in particular was huge on the shotgun, and we did a lot of shotgun training and really learned how to maximize these things. And those experiences running these shotguns, I was primarily a rifle guy, but I did run a shotgun fairly frequently, and certainly my team, we ran a lot of shotguns and used those as primary entry weapons. So those lessons have contributed to how I've set mine up, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is just how I've set this particular weapon up. So this is, these are dummy rounds incidentally, the weapon is clear. This is a Remington 870 Express is what it started out originally as. And the Expresses have gotten some negative press because some of the parts are either plastic or MEM, and I've replaced a lot of those, but this particular gun has got a lot of rounds through it and I haven't really had any problems. The 870 is pretty much bomb-proof, and it's very hard to break these things. If they're properly maintained, they'll run a long, long time and give you a lot of good service. So in this particular gun, this is obviously a short barrel shotgun. It's a 14-inch barrel, still smooth bore. It's a non-choked, it's a improved cylinder cut at the muzzle there that I had my gunsmith do. It's running Wilson Combat Scattergun Technologies front night sight. And then the rear setup here is something that's comparatively new. This is from a company called Aratus Industries, and this is their CROM, which is a low mount red dot optic mounting system that gives you the ability to co-witness your iron sights, which is something that previous to this you really couldn't do. You could have irons on the gun in conjunction with a red dot, but it was very difficult, if not impossible, to actually co-witness those sights. So in this case, what the CROM does is it eliminates the interface between the optic and the mount, and the optic mounts directly onto the this top piece here, the CROM itself. That gets it a lot lower, and as a result, I can see my sights and co-witness through the optic body. So that's how this is set up. This is a Holosun 503 GU that I've been testing. Heard a lot of good things about Holosun, so I wanted to try one, and I figured I'd put it on my shotgun. If it can survive with a shotgun, then it should be good to go for just about anything. This particular setup right here, I've used this to teach 2 shotgun classes in the past couple of months, and I'm up to about 750 rounds through this particular weapon in this configuration with this mount and this optic in the past several months. 750 rounds of a combination of buck, bird, and slug. And it's still running very, very well. Haven't had any problems whatsoever, no loss of zero or anything along those lines. Battery life has been good. The dot has stayed nice and crisp. Plenty bright for the Florida sun and whatnot. Very, very happy with this, and very, very happy with the mounting system in particular. So the other thing that I've got on here that's also from Aratus Industries is their loader system. And this is a modular piece. The plate actually mounts onto the receiver and is set up so that no matter how much you tighten it, you can't crush the receiver, which is something that we experienced with some of the older side saddle type systems. Kind of nice, it's got a cutout here for the serial number, so you don't have to take it on and off if you're trying to access your serial number. And you can buy these, the caddies, and get as many as you need. Aratus actually makes magazine pouches. You can fit these into a regular M4 pouch, but he actually makes some that are kind of like tacos, that are a little bit bigger and are specifically designed for these things. But these are quick on and quick off. They just lock in place. He has a drill where you can release them, kind of like if you're running an AK-47 magazine, and strip this off very quickly and then replace it with a fresh one out of your kit. So that's just kind of a nice feature, because one of the problems that we have with the shotgun is it is a limited capacity weapon system. And so generally speaking, like especially for home defense use, you're going to have what's on the gun or what's in the gun to deal with if you have to go and solve a problem. Having spare ammunition available is obviously very important, and it's something that you should consider via some sort of system, either a bandolier, My mentor used to do a bandolier system where he had slug on the back and buckshot on the front, had it looped over his shotgun, and when he would grab his home defense shotgun, he would fling that over his head so he had more spare ammunition with him. Or you can set up some sort of side saddle system like this one's got. I also have a single loader set up here. Normally you see these mounted on semi-automatics for right-handed shooters up here. I'm a lefty, so rather than have it in the way of my hand up here, I keep it on this side, and when I have to do an emergency port load, I just slide it off and port load into the port as such. But that just gives me one more round that's a little bit quicker than trying to pull it out of the caddy or off of a loader on my belt. The next thing, having a white light, some sort of weapon light on any defensive firearm is going to be very, very important. Light is power, and especially when we're talking about a defensive type situation, we can't pull the trigger on this weapon system until, in any weapon system, until you've made a conscious decision to fire. And part and parcel of the conscious decision to fire is that you have positively identified your target and know what you're pointing the gun at, what you're about to destroy. The white light gives you the ability to identify, make that positive identification so that you can make that conscious decision. In this case, I'm running a Magpul forend. This is mounted with a Magpul M-lock mount up in this high position. Then I've got the cord looped around to a pressure switch on this side, all set up from my hand so that I can run it very, very naturally as I'm manipulating the weapon. It's got a one-shot extension on here. And then going to the back, I'm running also a Magpul product, the Magpul shotgun stock. And I like this a lot. For quite a while I used to run a pistol grip on the weapon, which does give you some advantages. It brings the bones into alignment, gives you good recoil control. But one of the downsides is, especially for me as a lefty, with a conventional type of stock, I can just slide my hand forward to manipulate my action bar release. I can't do that if I've got a pistol grip. I actually have to break my grip, come forward, manipulate the action bar release, and then come back, reestablish my grip. In the case of something with a more conventional neck to it, I can just slide forward, do what I have to do, and come back. The Magpul stock kind of gives me the best of both worlds because it gives me that conventional angle or that conventional setup, but at a sharper angle that's more like a pistol grip, and therefore gives me that recoil control, that bone alignment that I talked about that helps when we're shooting the gun. Finally, I've got a Wilson Combat, Scattergun Technologies jumbo head safety. Or I'm sorry, this is a Vang Comp. I used to have a Wilson Combat, but that's the flat one. This is the Vang Comp jumbo head safety that I've got on here. This gun is actually set up with me being a lefty with a left-hand receiver. That throws people off frequently, but it's set up for me as a lefty, not as a right-handed person. That's about it for this weapon. Like I said, I got a lot of rounds through it. Very, very reliable. As long as you maintain it, the 870 will give you years and years of service. You can find police magnums on the used gun market, and generally speaking, sometimes they're kind of rough on the outside, but the inside is fairly pristine frequently, because a lot of times in law enforcement, the only time we shoot these things is in a familiarization fire once a year, 5, maybe 10 rounds. It was not uncommon on the task force when we would bring guys out to take them through our shotgun class that they would fire more. These are 15, 20-year law enforcement veterans. They would fire more shotgun ammunition in that one day than they had their entire career previously. Because we'll go out and we'll run 300 rounds through a day. The classes that I teach in my company defensive training group, same kind of thing. We'll go out and we'll run a whole bunch of shotgun, learning how to properly use these things. And part of that class does also cover how to set your equipment up so that you can maximize the effectiveness and the efficiency of what you're trying to do with it.